Hello everyone, how are you? I am Nishikawa, the presenter of this program. This program introduces you the outline of the PCM method. Have you ever heard of the PCM method? PCM stands for Project Cycle Management. The PCM method has been utilized by many development assistance organizations, and Japan International Cooperation Agency, JICA, also has been using it since 1994 as a method to effectively manage a series of steps from planning, implementation, through evaluation of technical cooperation projects and so on. In this unit, I would like to introduce to you an outline of the PCM method as a preparatory tool for you before actually receiving PCM method training by JICA in Japan. This handy knowledge can also help you effectively review the PCM method and teach it to other people after returning to your home country. In the project cycle management method, the PCM method for short, a project is regarded as a tool to solve problems. When some problems are found in the current situation which cause unfavorable conditions for people, a project is formulated and implemented by using the PCM method to solve these problems, or bring about more favorable conditions within a certain period of time. It is a method which starts from identifying the problems which currently cause unfavorable conditions, then analyzing their causes and results, and then search for ways to solve them. In other words, develop project ideas, formulate an appropriate project, make an action plan, and monitor progress and finally evaluate outputs of the project. Now you understand that a series of steps used to solve problems, namely from analysis to planning, implementation, and monitoring to evaluation makes up a cycle just like showing the birth, growth, and completion of a project. As the words project cycle management suggest, it is important to take a project as a cycle. This cycle is completed only after implementing, monitoring the progress and evaluating outputs of a project. Evaluation reveals lessons to be learned. These lessons will be utilized to make recommendations in planning the second phase of the same project, or will be applied to formulating other projects. From this, you will understand that the cycle spirally repeats in project development. The PCM method has three characteristics. 1. Participatory approach. 2. Logicality. 3. Consistency. Now, let us have a look at them one by one. First, the PCM method takes a participatory approach, which means participation by people from various groups. Various parties concerned in a potential project, such as representatives from donors, beneficiaries, affected people, implementers, and so on, attend meetings, where they identify the problems, select an appropriate project from among several project alternatives, and develop it into a project, and make a plan for implementation. These participatory meetings are called PCM workshops. At PCM workshops, diverse viewpoints from different parties are expressed and their interests are clarified and coordinated. A constructive attitude to better the current situation is adopted in order to find a balanced way for solving the problems identified. Second, PCM method is logical. Causal relationships are searched in such a way as this cause leads to that consequence in identifying problems. This is called a cause-result relationship in the PCM method. Likewise, relations are determined such a way as this means leads to that end in finding solutions to the problems. This is called a means-end relationships in the PCM method. Furthermore, if and then logics are continuously applied in determining the relationships from activities to outputs and then from outputs to objectives in the planning stage of the project. In this way, logicality is an important principle of the PCM method. The third is consistency, in the meaning that a project is developed and carried out through a series of steps which constitutes a continued and mutually linked process. There is assured a consistency. You will start with working out a project idea, in other words, problem analysis and objective analysis. Then, based on this exercise, you will proceed to a project selection. And then, for the selected project alternative, you will develop a full-scale project. Furthermore, based on this full-scale project, an action plan is produced for implementation. Then, a progress is monitored according to the Project Design Matrix, PDM, and the action plan, and finally, a project is evaluated. In this way, there is consistency as all the steps are closely related to each other. Each step does not take place independently, but all steps are linked to each other in the entire process of a project. Now, let us have a closer look at those stages by dividing them into 8 steps. There are 4 steps in the analysis stage and 2 steps in the planning stage. Then, there is 1 step each in the implementation stage and evaluation stage. Consequently, there are 8 steps in total. First, let us have a closer look at the analysis stage. The first analysis stage has 4 steps, namely 1. Stakeholders analysis, 2. Problems analysis, 3. Objectives analysis, and 4. Project selection. Step 1. Stakeholders analysis is for having a view on who will be involved in the project and how. An important thing to remember is that most relevant stakeholders can be more accurately identified only when project ideas have been clarified. Therefore, if you wish, this stakeholder analysis could be also carried out when a specific project is selected at a later stage. Step 2, problems analysis, is used to determine what are the problems and how they are related to each other. Then, Step 3, objectives analysis, elaborates how to improve the problematic situation. Finally, Step 4, project selection, compares project alternatives by using suitable criteria for comparison, and then select a project judged to be most appropriate. Next, we proceed to the planning stage. The planning stage consists of Step 5, establishing a project design matrix, PDM, and Step 6, making an action plan. This action plan is sometimes called a plan of operation. The project design matrix developed in Step 5 is a format showing a structure of the selected project. In a PDM, information on resource inputs, activities, outputs, objectives, external conditions, measurement, and date source for progress are summarized in a matrix form. An action plan sheet formed in Step 6 is a sort of summary table including activities, schedules, executive organizations, implementing organizations, required resources such as human resources, equipment, and other budget, as well as modality of monitoring and evaluation. Now, let me explain how to conduct a PCM workshop, the actual work of the steps mentioned until now. Each step is carried out by participants of the PCM workshop involved in the project work with an assistance of a facilitator. Duration and frequency of workshops will vary, depending on the scale of the project and also from stage to stage. The number of people participating in the workshop also varies, depending on the scale and complexity of the project. A workshop is expected to see a participation by various stakeholders, such as target groups, representatives of the community directly involved or affected by the project, implementing organizations, cooperating organizations, people from donors, related NGOs, and so on.
Sorry, just my small question. Which one is the cause and which one is the result?
A workshop is facilitated by a person called a facilitator. A facilitator is an expert who has thorough knowledge of the PCM method. The facilitator will help participants throughout analysis and planning stages. Participants write their own idea on cards and put them on a board to help visualize them. Analysis requires the consensus of all the participants.
What? Standards of living.
In this sense, as it is important to listen also to minority opinions, majority decision is not applied to PCM workshops. Now, let's get back to the steps of the PCM method. After Step 6, where an action plan was made, Step 7, monitoring comes during the implementation process. Monitoring is a work where information is collected in a continuous and periodic manner to check the progress of the project. This is to find out whether resource inputs and activities are taking place according to the plan, and then analyze factors for delay or over progress, and feedback the results of analysis into implementation. Step 8 is evaluation. Evaluation is to check various aspects, namely, a performance observed through implementation of the project. Usually, the following 5 aspects are checked for evaluation. These 5 evaluation criteria are 1. Efficiency, 2. Effectiveness, 3. Impact on target groups, 4. Policy relevance, 5. Sustainability. In general, when a midterm evaluation is carried out halfway through the project, efficiency will be primarily analyzed. And at the end of the project evaluation, effectiveness, degree of achievement of project objectives will be additionally analyzed. After the completion of the project, impact on target groups, policy relevance, and sustainability are especially observed. Let me briefly explain each of these 5 criteria. 1. Efficiency is measured by observing how much outputs have been obtained both quantitatively and qualitatively by the injected human, material, and monetary resources through the planned activities during implementation. 2. Effectiveness is measured by seeing how much contribution has been made by obtained outputs to achieve the project objectives by the end of the project. 3. Impact is measured by seeing what direct or indirect influence has been exerted on the target group by implementation of the project in both positive and negative ways. 4. Relevance is measured by seeing how meaningful the project objectives were from policy viewpoints, comparing them to longer-term objectives, namely community needs, as well as plans and policies of the provincial or national government. 5. Sustainability is measured through observation of whether similar activities are continuously underway even after completion of the project. Namely, producing outputs, achieving objectives, and having an impact on the target group, and showing relevance in terms of the policies and plans of the upper organizations or wider geographical scope. If there are any unexpected aspects observed in each item, they should also be recorded. The evaluation results will be utilized as suggestions for similar projects in the future. It also means that if the project has subsequent phase, the evaluation results will be considered in its planning and implementation exercises. So, you have seen the outline of the entire flow from analysis, planning, monitoring to evaluation using the PCM method. Now, let us look back what we have discussed in this Unit 1. In the PCM method, a project is regarded as a tool to solve problems, and the problems are solved through a series of steps in a form of a cycle. The PCM method has 3 characteristics, which are participatory approach, logicality, and consistency. The PCM method consists of analysis, and planning, monitoring, and evaluation. They can be divided into 8 steps in total. The first analysis stage has 4 steps, namely 1. Stakeholders analysis, 2. Problems analysis, 3. Objectives analysis, and 4. Project selection. The planning stage has 2 steps, which are 5. Formulation of PDM and 6. Making of an action plan. These analysis and planning steps are taken in the form of workshops where people from various groups involved in a potential project meet and share ideas for analysis and planning. After the project activities were launched, follow Step 7, Monitoring, and Step 8, Evaluation. Evaluation is made based on 5 criteria, namely efficiency, effectiveness, impact, relevance, and sustainability. The outline of the PCM method was briefly introduced in this Unit 1. How did you like this program? Those who want to know each step in more detail, please find them in Unit 2 and 3. Those who want to know about actual cases using the PCM method up to action plan making, please find them in Unit 4. See you again in each unit.